Some games don't just tell a story, they hit harder than movies ever could. I'm talking about moments that stay in your head for years, characters that feel real, and endings that actually leave you thinking, yeah, nothing else compares. And the crazy part? Most of these stories work because you're the one living them. In this video, we're going through 15 games with stories so good they honestly feel better than movies. These aren't just popular titles, these are experiences that stick with you long after the credits roll. Some will surprise you, some might hit you emotionally, and a few you probably won't forget anytime soon. When you talk about stories that feel better than movies, Red Dead Redemption 2 is easily one of the first that comes to mind. This isn't just a cowboy game, it's a slow, emotional journey about loyalty, change, and watching a world disappear right in front of you. You step into the boots of Arthur Morgan, and what makes it hit different is how human he feels. He's not perfect, he makes mistakes, and over time you actually see him grow, question things, and struggle with who he is. The pacing is slow, yeah, but that's exactly why it works. You live with the gang, you feel those quiet campfire moments, and when things start falling apart, it genuinely hurts. By the time you reach the end, it doesn't feel like you just finished a game. It feels like you lost something, and that's something most movies don't even get right. If there's one game that proves storytelling in gaming can hit just as hard, if not harder than film, it's The Last of Us Part 1. This game doesn't rely on big twists or flashy moments, it builds everything on raw emotion and the relationship between Joel Miller and Ellie. What makes it special is how natural everything feels. The conversations, the silence, even the small moments while exploring, they all slowly build this connection that feels real. And because you're the one guiding them through this broken world, every decision and every loss hits way deeper. It's not just about survival, it's about what people are willing to do for love, and that ending, it stays with you. No over-the-top drama, just pure, grounded storytelling that feels uncomfortably real. When it comes to rich, layered storytelling, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt is on another level. You play as Geralt of Rivia, and what makes this game stand out is how every quest, even the side ones, feels like its own mini-movie. There's no clear good or bad choice here, just consequences that follow you in ways you don't expect. One moment you're hunting monsters, and the next you're caught in deeply personal stories about loss, love, and survival. The world feels alive, messy, and real, and the characters, especially Ciri, pull you into something way bigger than just another fantasy adventure. And honestly, some of the storylines here hit harder than full-length films. It's the kind of game where you don't just finish missions, you remember them. A perfect example of storytelling done right is God of War. This isn't just another action game about gods and monsters. It's a deeply personal journey between a father and his son. You follow Kratos, who's no longer the rage-filled warrior we once knew, now trying to control his past while raising Atreus in a harsh world. What really stands out is how the story is told in one continuous shot, with no cuts, making everything feel more immersive and real. The conversations during quiet moments, the tension between them, and the slow growth of their relationship, it all feels natural. And even though the game is packed with intense combat, it's those small emotional moments that stick with you the most. By the end, it feels less like a mythological adventure and more like a story about trust, understanding, and change. If you want a game that truly feels like an interactive movie, Detroit: Become Human takes it to another level. This game puts you in control of multiple characters like Connor, Kara, and Marcus, and every single choice you make actually shapes how their stories play out. What makes it stand out is how intense and personal those decisions feel. There's no going back, no perfect path, just consequences that can completely change who lives, who dies, and how everything ends. It dives into themes like freedom, identity, and what it really means to be human, but never feels forced. Instead, it lets you experience it through your own actions. And by the end, you're not just watching a story unfold, you're responsible for it, which makes every moment hit way harder than a typical movie.
And I want a car. When I'm outside the city, I want everyone to leave. And I want a car. When I'm outside the city, I'll let her go.
When it comes to character-driven storytelling, Mass Effect 2 absolutely nails it. You step into the role of Commander Shepard, but what really makes this game unforgettable is your crew. Every squad member has their own backstory, struggles, and loyalty missions that feel deeply personal, not just side content. You're not just saving the galaxy, you're building relationships, earning trust, and sometimes making really tough calls that can cost lives. And then there's the final mission, easily one of the most intense endings in gaming. Everything you've done up to that point matters. Every decision, every upgrade, every bond. It's one of those rare games where you feel the weight of leadership, and by the end, it doesn't feel like you played a story. It feels like you lived it. If there's a game that surprises you with how deep it gets, Nier Automata is a perfect example. On the surface, it looks like a fast-paced action game with robots, but the story slowly peels back layer after layer to reveal something surprisingly emotional and philosophical. You start as 2B, a combat android, but as you play, the narrative challenges what it means to be alive, to have purpose, and even what humanity really is. The twists are clever, sometimes heartbreaking, and the multiple endings make you rethink everything you thought you understood about the world. Plus, the way the gameplay and story intertwine is brilliant. You can't separate one from the other. By the end, it's not just a game you played, it's an experience that sticks with you long after the credits roll. When it comes to storytelling that leaves you thinking, BioShock is still a masterclass, even years after release. The underwater city of Rapture is more than just a setting. It's a character in itself, full of ambition, decay, and moral collapse. As you explore, the story unfolds through audio diaries, environmental details, and the people you meet, creating this eerie, immersive experience that feels almost cinematic. Then there's that moment where the game flips everything you thought you knew on its head. It's clever, shocking, and honestly kind of genius. Playing it isn't just about shooting splicers. It's about uncovering a narrative that constantly makes you question your choices, your assumptions, and even the way stories in games can be told. It's tense, atmospheric, and unforgettable. If you want a game that sneaks up on you with its storytelling, Spec Ops The Line is an absolute standout. On the surface, it looks like a standard military shooter, but the story quickly shows it's anything but. You follow Captain Martin Walker into a sandstorm-ravaged Dubai, expecting action-packed heroics, and instead, you're confronted with the horrifying consequences of war and moral compromise. What makes it unforgettable is how the game forces you to reflect on your actions. Every decision, every shot fired carries weight, and by the end, it leaves a knot in your stomach. It's not about winning or losing, it's about what it really feels like to be human in impossible situations. Few games make you feel guilty, horrified, and introspective all at once, and this one nails it. If you've ever wanted a story that's as much about atmosphere as it is about plot, Alan Wake 2 is exactly that. From the moment you step into Alan's shoes, the game blends psychological horror with thriller storytelling in a way that feels like you're living a dark, suspenseful novel. The writing is sharp, full of tension, and every chapter unravels mysteries that keep you on edge. What really stands out is how the environment itself becomes part of the narrative. The shadows, the weather, even the flicker of a lamp can create a moment that's genuinely cinematic. And when the story twists, it doesn't just shock you, it sticks with you. Playing it feels like being trapped in a gripping TV miniseries where you're the main character and every revelation hits harder because it's yours to discover. When it comes to emotionally driven storytelling, A Plague Tale, Requiem delivers in spades. You follow Amisha and Hugo through a dark, plague-ravaged world, and what makes this game so compelling is how personal it feels. Every moment of danger, every tense escape, strengthens the bond between the siblings. The story doesn't rely on over-the-top spectacle. Instead, it focuses on quiet, devastating human moments that make you care deeply about the characters. The way the world reacts to you, the ever-present threat of the rats, and the moral dilemmas scattered throughout make the tension almost unbearable at times. By the end, it's less about defeating an enemy and more about surviving together, and that emotional weight lingers far longer than most cinematic experiences. When it comes to cinematic storytelling in games, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End is practically unmatched. You follow Nathan Drake on what's meant to be his final adventure, and the story balances high-octane action with surprisingly human moments. It's not just about treasure hunting or epic set pieces, though those are incredible. It's about the relationships, regrets, and choices that make Nathan feel like a real person, not just a video game hero. Scenes with Sully and Elena ground the story, and the way the game weaves in flashbacks and emotional stakes keeps you invested. By the time you reach the finale, it's bittersweet. You're exhilarated from the adventure, but also genuinely sad to say goodbye. It's storytelling that's fun, thrilling, and deeply human all at once. If you're looking for a game that mixes heartfelt storytelling with real emotional stakes, Life is Strange is a perfect pick. You step into Max's world, a seemingly ordinary teen with the extraordinary ability to rewind time. But what makes the story resonate is how grounded it feels. Every choice carries weight, not just for the plot, but for the people you care about, and the game doesn't shy away from tough emotional consequences. Moments with Chloe, the small-town dynamics, and the quiet, tense scenes all build up to a finale that hits harder than most movies aimed at adults or teens. It's nostalgic, emotional, sometimes heartbreaking, and it sticks with you because it feels real, like you're living someone else's life, with all the messy, beautiful parts intact.
Mr. Jefferson, can I talk to you for a moment?
Yes. Excuse you.
No, Victoria. Excuse us. I'd never let one of photography's future stars avoid handing...
One of the most surprisingly emotional games out there is Firewatch. On the surface, it's a simple story. A man named Henry takes a job as a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness. But what makes it feel cinematic is the way it tells a deeply human story through dialogue and exploration. Your conversations with Delilah over the radio are natural, funny, awkward, and sometimes tense, and they evolve in a way that feels incredibly real. The isolation of the forest, combined with the mysteries you uncover, makes every moment feel intimate and personal. It's not about action or spectacle, it's about connection, curiosity, and those quiet moments that make you pause and think. By the end, Firewatch sticks with you because it's a game that feels lived in, not just played.
Our fucking state coordinator asked if I was just having lady troubles. So no, this isn't happening to anyone else, and I'm done asking.
When it comes to games that push storytelling to its emotional limits, The Last of Us. Part 2 is impossible to ignore. This sequel isn't just a continuation, it's a raw, intense exploration of grief, revenge, and the gray areas of morality. Walking in Ellie's shoes, you experience the consequences of past actions in ways that are brutal, personal, and unforgettable. The character work is phenomenal. Every conversation, every glance, every moment of silence adds layers to the story. It's not easy or comfortable to play, but that's the point. It challenges you emotionally, making you feel anger, sorrow, and even empathy for characters you never expected to care about. By the time the credits roll, it's not just a story you've watched, It's a story you felt, and that's why it rivals the best films out there. And there you have it, 15 games with stories so good, they honestly feel better than movies. Some made us laugh, some made us cry, and a few probably made us question our own choices. Gaming isn't just about fun anymore, it's about experiences that stick, characters that feel real, and worlds you actually live in. Now I want to hear from you. Did your favorite story make the list, or do you have other games that hit you just as hard? Drop your picks in the comments, and let's get the discussion going. If you enjoyed this journey through cinematic gaming, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into games that leave a mark. Until next time, keep playing, keep exploring, and keep getting lost in stories worth remembering.